Malzahar is one of the most intense, difficult, and big brain champions in the entire game. So, for the next 10 hours, I'm gonna try to learn him in 3 steps. First, play some normal games. Second, do some research. And third, play some ranked games. I'm doing this because I'm trying to learn every champion so one day I can make the greatest Viego video ever. And since I'm new to mid lane, I made a new account so you can all follow along with my ranked journey. So what runes and build should you go on Malzahar? Well, the main rune is Summon Airy because it's very easy to trigger with your E. For your build, you want to go a mana item, it's really your personal preference, into Leandre's, then Rylai's. After that, you can literally just build whatever, just get some AP and you'll be fine. Alright, on to some normal games. I will admit, in my very first game, I didn't really respect how weak Malzahar is early game. That's crazy! But it's okay. I thought it would take me a while to get my first sick Malzahar outplay, but I managed to do it in my very first game. He's just dead to the burn. Yeah, I guess I already mastered Malzahar. Thanks for watching, I guess. Nah, I'm just kidding. In my next game, my tippy toe got hit by Asol's ult, and even though I traded 1 for 1, I was still pretty tilted. You see, I still had a lot to learn about Malzahar, like how he has no mobility, which makes him very vulnerable to ganks. How Malzahar isn't great in the side lane. Sure, his ult makes him good for 1v1s, but if more than one person shows up, you're kinda doomed. And of course, just how squishy I am. Again, I'm used to top laners where having full HP actually means something, but as a mid laner or AD carry, you might as well just have 100 HP. But I did learn some positive things too, like how easy it is to get kills if your jungler ganks. I mean, it took 3 games, but I finally got my first gank and it actually went pretty well. And how if you're split pushing, your ult makes you very good at 1v1s. As long as no one else comes to stop your ult. He just burns. During these normal games, I was struggling a lot more than I thought I would, and it all came down to my positioning on Malzahar. You see, early on in this challenge, I thought my spell shield would keep me safe from all danger, so I would walk up way too far, it would get removed by a random spell like Nasty, and then I would just die. During these normal games, I was way overconfident. I was coming off of an Annie video where I literally got a pentakill in one of my first games on Annie. Alright. This would cause me to trade really aggressive in lane, even if I did manage to win sometimes. And even though Malzahar is super simple, my inexperience and nerves cause me to mess up his one combo sometimes. I didn't press my W is crazy, there's no way I pressed. And again, when I had my spell shield, I just felt way too safe. I don't know why my brain just thought, if my shield's up, I'm invincible. After these games, I realized Malzahar isn't completely easy. So I did some research on YouTube and here's what I found. 1, your whole kit literally just avoids interaction. In lane, play safe or fast push and then leave. In the mid game, fast push side waves and then leave. And if you're in a 1v1, just suppress them and then, you guessed it, leave. Or kill them and keep pushing. 2, you can use your pets to block spells. Sometimes you don't need your pets for damage, you can summon them to block skill shots. However, this goes both ways and champions like Irelia and Yasuo can use those pets as a gap closer. 3, remember to spam your abilities so your W is always stacked. There is nothing worse than accidentally summoning 1 pet instead of 3 and doing way less damage. And 4, you actually do a lot in team fights, not including your ult. Your Q is a long-range skill shot that also silences, and your E does a lot of damage. Just stay back and spam those abilities until you have an opportunity to ult, or if you can pick someone off before the fight even starts. Oh yeah, and if you're interested in watching these challenges live, I stream pretty much every day on YouTube and Twitch, link in the description. Anyway, on to some ranked games. And after my research, my first hours of gameplay did not go very well. But even though I started off losing, I didn't feel bad about it. I was improving a lot actually. Like, I was getting better at leaving my lane to help my team, even though I didn't expect Malzahar to be such a good roaming champion, and just like before, I was still outplaying people with my ult. I mean, I had to press 4 keys super quickly to make this work. I was also getting way more consistent with my farming and split pushing, so I'd have like 9 CS per minute and multiple towers. And even though I was losing these games, I think I was playing pretty well, just some games are out of your control. I mean, I'm not saying I played super well or anything, but I think I was playing fine. Not good enough to hard carry, but definitely good enough to win a few games if I stayed consistent. And I know Malzahar isn't like mechanically difficult or anything, but the more I played, the more confident I was on him, even though a few hours ago I was kinda clueless. But for now, I was still pretty clueless on how to play the late game and how to actually win games with Malzahar.
I didn't realize she was ulting in that bush.
And just like I predicted earlier, I did start winning. But I was still just playing fine. I had a few good plays and still a lot of silly mistakes. But again, I was getting more comfortable on Malzahar and I was consistently winning 1v1s. During this time, I was also trying to experiment with different builds to see if it would help my performance at all. I did this because when I watched other one-tricks play Malzahar, I saw they were building different items from me.
There's only like 2 people in the world that play fucking Malzahar.
The only issue was, I thought they were building Malignants and Seraphs when they were actually just building one or the other. And since I was building 2 mana items before Leandre's, I was taking way too long to scale and actually do damage. I'm still dead! I think I was playing way worse during these games because of my new and kind of bad build, but for some reason, this is when I actually started winning. I ended up trying a lot of different builds this video because I just didn't like the feel of Blackfire Torch. I know Blackfire Torch is good, but having my ult up more consistently with Malignants or having Seraphs for the shield and survivability just felt way better. And honestly, that's part of the fun when I do these challenges, testing out a bunch of different builds and strategies to figure out what fits my playstyle best. Even if it's not what most people are building, if it works for me and I feel confident with it, why not use it? I'm not gonna go into every build I tried during this challenge, so you can just look at my items and flame me in the comments if you want. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to how it feels to play Malzahar, and how sick it feels to completely outplay my opponent with one button. And sometimes I didn't even need my ult. The enemy would just randomly throw themselves at me and I would kill them with my Rylai Slug. Who's next? This is actually the secretly OP build. Anyway, jokes aside, at this point I had a pretty good feel on how to play Malzahar, and I have to say I'm pretty disappointed. Let me explain. You see, Malzahar is an anti-carry, which means his role is to stop the enemy carry from playing the game with his ult, silence, and slows with Rylai's. But by design, that also means it's very hard for Malzahar to be the carry because that's just not what his kit's designed to do. I mean, your ult literally makes you stand still, which is great for picks and utility, but not great for carrying games. And even in fights where you do play pretty well and your team keeps you alive, you just don't have as much damage as other mid laners. Like Annie and LeBlanc would have gone crazy in this fight. But even though Malzahar is kind of boring and hard to carry with, he does have his fair share of positives. Like, it's hilarious when you just press one button and win a fight, even if you need some help finishing off the kill sometimes. Malzahar is also amazing at pushing waves and taking towers, so if your opponent leaves lane, you can punish them really hard. And defend Malzahar can do a lot of damage, it's just over time. And even though it's not at the same level of like Brand or Zyra, he synergizes great with Leandre's. You just gotta play a little weird in order to win. So, after comparing Malzahar to Brand and Zyra, I thought, you know what? Maybe Malzahar can be a support. I mean, the thought process was there. I'm an anti-carry, so why not just play support and trade 1-for-1 with the enemy carry? Unfortunately, I quickly realized why this strategy was kind of bad.
Oh, he's under tower, he's under tower, he's under tower, he's under tower, he's dead, dead.
Huge! One of Malzahar's greatest strengths is farming the side waves, but when I'm under leveled and have a support item that makes minions give me less gold, it kind of ends up being a useless strength. But I wasn't satisfied, so I tried again, and when comboed with Misfortune, Malzahar is actually a really cool support.
Oh shit! That was insane!
It's great in lane, but also if you ult someone, they have to sit in Misfortune's ult the entire time. I mean, maybe with a little practice, Malzahar support could be pretty good. Especially considering I actually won both of my support games. Anyway, going into my final hour, I decided to head back mid lane and finish the challenge as strong as possible. And I don't know if playing support helped my mindset with Malzahar, but these turned out to be some of the best games of the whole challenge. I was more confident in my abilities, and I was flash ulting to make plays, even though a few times earlier on in the challenge I messed it up because I didn't know my ult's range. And for the last few times, I was hard outplaying my opponents. Man, I'm actually gonna miss this a lot. And even when the game was dead even and the enemy team had Elder, I knew that my new mastery of Malzahar would help me carry the game. If an enemy tried to make a big play, I would just say, nope. And as the video comes to an end, remember, you don't always need your ult to make a big play, you still have pretty decent damage without it. Remember that just because you have your spell shield does not mean you are safe. You can still easily get one shot. Remember, always press your W before your ult in a 1v1. It's like 70% of your damage. I didn't have pets, fuck! And remember, you are a team player. You usually won't be the one making fancy plays, but trust me, you will do more damage than you think and provide a lot of utility with your ult, silence, and slows. In the end, I climbed from Silver 1 to Gold 3. And if you like outplaying people with one button, Malzahar is the champion for you.